So we've been going hard at it day and night, getting our place ready, working on our cars. And before we get inside, I want to show you the progress we've made on the building. We're getting ready for April 17th open house, which is less than 2 weeks away now. Come on in. So, okay, everything's under construction, so you have to, bear with me. So this is our reception area. These shelves will have merch. Little desk. We've got walkie-talkies because this place is big with many barriers. So the only way to really effectively communicate across is, so we've got that. So this is all working tonight. Here's our shelves. Okay. Uncle Crystal's office is coming along. See, it's all like nice and official, like desks and stuff like that. Official, right? So that's her place. And then we go, let's go back a little bit. So here's like the nerve center, okay? And here's my favorite room. This is, you guys are gonna love this. Okay. This is the think tank, all right? Come on in. This is where, here's my chair. Okay, so this is where we'll have meetings and brainstorm and get stuff, get the ideas going, the juice flowing, right? So it's bare right now, but we'll have lots of stuff in here. Mood room, set the right frame of mind for, for lunging forward. So that's what we got here. I love this room. Okay, all right, whiteboard, see, you got a whiteboard. You can't have a conference room without a whiteboard. Okay, so let's get out of here. Haven't done anything but bad. This is Uncle Kathy's office under construction. It's a small one, she doesn't really need much space. She's got a huge one at the house. So this is just where she set up, keep her equipment and whatnot. And probably come to curse me out at times, where nobody can hear her. Don't laugh, it's the truth. Okay? This is Office Del Campo. This is Buff's office. When Buff gets back from his secret Area 51 government stuff that he's working on, this will be like where he says, Buff will be a regular here as far as like the administration of things go. So this is his little cubicle. And this one, we're going to set up to do podcasts. This will be empty for a while. We're not going to do anything until we've got everything else rolling. So. But this is why I brought you here today. Come this way. So, let me put the lights back on. This shop, even with no lights on, is better lit than my whole place. And then there was light. So, here's what happened, right? I'm flogging on Miata. This is going to be a huge project, and it dawned on me last night that the only effective way to do this is literally to take the entire car apart, gut it, get all of the old stuff out, and then reconfigure it. So, this car had been passed through a couple of, let's say, hacks, all right? And none of the hardware fit, right? Like there was 4 different types of bolts holding the seats down. All little things like that. And that's one of my pet peeves. I have this thing about matching hardware. Hardware's got to be right. It's got to be matching. It's got to be, and I'm a hoarder, But and that's the key to this, right? This is I can't stress this enough. There is no way I could do any of the stuff that I do if I wasn't a hoarder. I'm not independently wealthy. I don't have a fully stocked hardware, store at my disposal 24/7. When I need to assemble something or fabricate something or whatever, I need the right hardware. I need good hardware. I don't need cheap Chinese stuff. Where you go to Home Depot and you'll spend like $12 on 2 bolts and they're made out of like old beer cans, right? So this is what I'm faced with right now. This is just a tiny fraction of my hoarding. Now, I'm a little bit more organized back at the house. At the house, I have a nice big fastenal bin, and it's loaded with, you know, 3/8 coarse nuts, 3/8 fine nuts, you know, the whole bit, right? Very organized. But before you can do that, you need your catch-alls, and the catch-alls are always cans like these. Now, I'll eventually put up a nice bolt bin here, but for the time being, you have to understand the methodology behind all of this. These are all, it's all Chrysler hardware, which is one of the things that I'm having a problem with this now, because I need to start hoarding some metric hardware, net metric nuts and bolts and all of the other stuff. But this is all Chrysler stuff. And I'm extremely organized when it comes to this. Like, I know if somebody else has been in my stash, because I'll find a washer in the bolt can, or, you know, so like here, let's take one of these over here just to show you guys. Okay, so I'm trying to assemble a piece, whatever it is. I'm trying to find bolts to put a water pump on a big block, you know. I'll spread them out on a table like this and start start going around. Here's a perfect example of exactly what I'm talking about. I know that all of my friends have access to my hardware. You know, I'm like, I like to let people just, go ahead, do what you got to do. But here's what happens. Look, I just found 2 K-frame bolts, right? These are 2 Chrysler K-frame bolts, but look. I have a whole can of nothing but Chrysler K-frame bolts. So why do I need so many Chrysler K-frame bolts? I have no idea, but I'm a hoarder, okay? So, and if I don't need them, well, you know what? Somebody else may need them. Chrysler K-frame bolts. So, you need washers. Washers and spacers, because kind of the same time you need a washer, you also need a spacer. You know, so there's all sorts of different washers and spacers in there. Okay, all different materials. You know, nothing. Now, what'll happen is, oh, see, somebody was in my stash. See, so this goes in a nut can. I don't have that there. We'll leave that there. This will get more organized as time goes on. Because again, see, these are catch-alls, right? So when I have some washers, I throw them in a pile. Need a Phillips screw? What size do you need, right? There's every type of trim screw. Here's a Chrysler door handle, you know, screws like A and B body door handle screws. Here's a headlight aimer screw. You know, I mean, you could just run through them. Here's a kick panel, not a kick panel, a rocker panel, carpet screw. You name it, I got it in there. When I'm looking for something specific, I find it. And like I said, I'm a freak for having specific fasteners. Like, I don't like mismatched fasteners. I want to put one wrench on it. I want to have it the right length, the right material, the right everything. So I'm anal about that. But that's not where I stop, okay? And this is the problem I'm having right now. Like, in addition to setting this place up, I'm working on the project cars. I have to assimilate all of these various things into where, okay? Belts, you know, I never throw a belt away because you never know. I don't put used belts on my cars, but you never know when you're going to throw one and it's the weekend or it's nighttime and you need to get going again. Well, here's my belts, okay? I have an equal stack hanging in the shed at the house. Here's a random wiring harness catch-all. These are all Chrysler harnesses. None of them are any good, but sometimes you need a plug. Let's say one of your buddies wants to make a conversion to electronic ignition. Well, there's a plug for it. You need I mean, any type of plug or you know, circuitry that you would want to liberate. You know, it's all in here. You know, here's a Chrysler. Here's A-body air conditioning harness. You know, here's a headlight harness. You never know when you need that plug. So there's my And this is one of like a few of these. This happens to be the one that I've got here with me now. Hoses. Whoops. What kind of hose do you need? Yeah, I know when I'm building stuff. Here's my extra spare stroke, big block stroker crank. You never know when you need a little length of hose to do something. Of course, when I'm putting a car together, I'll use new stuff. But you never know, you know, you break down, this starts leaking, this doesn't fit quite right, you're experimenting with something. Well, here you go, here's random hoses. Steering column stuff. Carburetors, right? There's just carburetors and carburetor parts everywhere. At home, I have a catch-all can, like one of those big Maxwell House ones, that has nothing but tidbits, carburetor tidbits, accelerator pumps, linkages, little clips. You just name it. Boy, this is random. This is going to take me forever to sort through all of this and get it all where it's got to be. Timing cover is late timing cover, early timing cover. Here's an extra starter. Pulleys. I have a shelf full of pulleys at the house. You never know. You know, I may need this pulley, or I may just need 2 grooves out of it or whatever, so I'll cut it down and make whatever I need to make. But you know, this is what makes it possible to do the stuff that I do, that I don't have to stop what I'm doing and then go order parts, or stop what I'm doing and run to the hardware store or the auto parts store and get something that likely isn't going to do the job that I want it to do. So having all of this stuff at my disposal, at my fingertips, is the key to success. There is absolutely no way on earth I could have done any of the stuff that I've done if it wasn't for my hoarding. You know, it's just wired into me. All Mopar guys are hoarders. I think I'm probably worse than most. Chrysler ECUs. I don't use these damn things, but I have plenty of friends that do. So here's factory original 5 pins. Here's a 4-pin, right? So whatever they happen to need, bam, I got it. Here's another electronic catch-all. I gotta sort. You know, I actually had this stuff pretty neatly organized at the old place, but now it's like it's all over the place. But there's another electronic catch-all. Gaskets. Slant 6 drool tubes. You never know when you need a slant 6 drool tube. Gaskets. They're all half completed or half empty gasket sets, but they've always got that little trinket that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I don't throw this stuff out. I find a place to keep it. And somehow I've got like this mental inventory of where everything is. You know what I mean? I need a rocker shaft hold down washer for a small block. I know where they are. Nobody else would know where they are, but I do. Hoarding, you know, it's not just a Mopar thing, it's a hot rodder thing. If you're going to build cars, if you're going to screw around with cars of any type, you need to keep these things around you, otherwise you'll go broke. And the worst part about it is you'll have momentum going on a project, whatever it happens to be, and suddenly it's just like, okay, the bolts I have are too short, these aren't going to work. You've got to stop. If you don't have a longer version of that bolt, you've got to stop, and you lose your momentum. You know, even if it's just to go to the parts store or to the hardware store to get the ones that you need, you still lost that momentum. You lost your focus on the job that you're trying to complete. So that brings us back to this thing, and the fact that I have hoarded 0 metric hardware. So we're going to have fun putting this thing back together again. Like when I got it, like here's the emergency brake handle. You know, the bolts that hold this here were missing. This is just the way I got it. So it's like little stuff like that I'm going to go crazy trying to find. But yeah, the next step with this is to pull the dashboard out, got all of the remainder of the wiring out of this thing. This is a huge undertaking, but I'm having more fun with this than I've had with anything in a long time. So that's it for now. I got to get my hands off of this and get back to working on the shop, because open house April 17th. If you're in the area, come by. And I'll see you tomorrow.